good afternoon, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to something brand new on the Milky Serial YouTube channel. We're going karting, as you can probably tell from the images on your screen. We're in some bad boy Club 100 karts. Now, last year I was in the Endurance Championship with weight. This isn't a sim rig, and we managed to come third in the intermediate class. We put in some really good results, including somehow qualifying third at Bayford Meadows. So I was feeling myself a little bit, and I thought, you know what, let's jump on into the sprint. So we are entered for 8 rounds, and this was the first round at Whilton Mill. Sadly, the GoPro wasn't working for the first 2 heats, so we only have heat 3 and the finals, which is a shame because the first 2 heats were my best heats. We had some issues in the 3rd heat and finals with the car. Just unfortunate stuff, really. It's racing at the end of the day. So without further ado, let's jump on in to our very first recorded heat on the GoPro, which was heat 10, our 3rd heat, and we were starting in 3rd. 3rd means that we are starting right behind the leader, which is the guy in that orange helmet, and it also means that we are on the inside for turn 1. Now, considering the pace that we had in our first 2 heats, which was heat 2 and heat 5, we've got a lot of pace. We were the fastest man on track in heat 2, so I went into this thinking, okay, let's win it, let's get a good start, and massive thanks to good friend Ahmed Martinez for recording this from the balcony. So we've got picture-in-picture all the way through, making sure that we're right on the bumper of the leader, giving him a nice little push to make sure he gets a good start. We're already up into 2nd into turn 1, but he carries too much speed, and it means that we can get a nice exit through turn 2. We pick up the pieces, and just like that, guys, we're leading the race. So yeah, I was pretty happy with this at this point. Into Christmas corner at the top of the hill, you can brake really late, then you ride this curb through the left-hander. And as you can probably see on the picture-in-picture, I've got a very large lead to the guys behind. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't look behind me at all until the last 2 laps or so. I just got my head down and tried to push as much as feasibly possible. And here at Whilton, we were quick in the first 2 sessions, but I was able to find just little changes to my driving lines to be able to go that little bit quicker. And over the course of this race, we brought down that lap time, lap by lap by lap. And I think in the first session, I did a 54.5, the second session 54.4. So I wanted to be getting into the low 54s with this. Sadly, though, the kart was lacking a little bit in straight line speed, and usually the Club 100 guys do an absolutely fantastic job of keeping the karts even. But I'm not going to be that salty guy who's like, oh no, the kart wasn't good for me. It's racing. Sometimes you get the good kart, sometimes you don't, and you know, you got to live with it and do the best with the equipment you get given to you. So we head down into Ashby hairpin, and that's always a really tricky corner, Ashby, because you can brake really late for it, try to get up on the curb, and I can never really tell if you want to get a late apex or an early apex. I think I'm a bit of a fan of the early apex. This left hand is probably my best corner on the track, I think, and we have a very nice lead. This lap was a 56.1, so I'll run you guys through a hot lap, I guess, here at Whilton, because while it wasn't a fast lap, I think my driving was actually really good for these upcoming few laps. So into turn 1, you're completely flat into the left, little lift just to make sure the kart is stable as you turn into 2. You can ride a bit of the curb and then let the kart all the way out, straight line it up the hill towards Christmas, and this is where so much time can be gained. You want to brake really late, back on the power as early as possible, let the car out, then ride this curb as you let the car back out through the left, kink all the way up on the curb as you make your way down the hill into Ashby. Hard on the brake, sometimes the engine will lock up. We missed the apex a little bit, but again, there's a lot of concrete runoff, so that's use a little indent on the right as you come down the hill, and again, using that indent on the right on corner exit. Back on the power through this second left-hander, using up the curb on the right. That left-hander's off camber, so it is very tricky. There's a yellow flag, so we just take things a bit more cautiously, but we can see that the incident has almost been cleared up, so nothing too much to worry about. It's pretty much flat through that double right-hander, and then through the final corner, a little lift I like to do just to keep the kart stable to complete a lap. As we are still leading, but you might be able to see that the guys behind are slowly starting to close up. So it is time to get the hammer down a bit. Not that I knew this at this point. I was just doing my own race, getting my head down and trying to pump in the best laps that were possible. And I think I did a decent job as we get actually pretty nice that time round, I think. Back on the power again, use this indent I don't know what you call it, cut through, I guess. And into this corner, this is where you've got to be kind of gentle on the throttle and just work out when the kart has grip and pull the kart in, because it's so easy just to turn in a bit too late and then you're on the dirty stuff and there's not really much grip and you just find yourself out wide for so long. Boot's a really tricky corner because the first left-hander, it invites you to carry a lot of speed, and then you find that you're completely messed up for the double right-hander, which carries so much momentum into the final corner. But lap 5 of the race, and these heats are all 8 minutes. The final is 12 minutes, which will be the next race that we show after this one. And so far we've been improving with every single lap, which I guess is the plan, I want to say. Just to keep on improving and just find more and more time with every lap. It's a shame that we didn't quite get onto this pace as quickly as possible. That's something definitely I can take away for the next race, which is just to get onto the pace a little bit quicker. You'll sometimes see a lot of the drivers wheeling their karts around before the race start, which I like to do as well. It gets the heat into the tyres very quickly. In the endurance races, it might mean that your tyres go off a bit earlier, maybe. But for sprint races, get the heat in as quickly as possible. It helps massively. On to lap 6, and again, this next lap, or this lap coming up, we find another 10th. So we're constantly improving, we're constantly finding the limits of the car and getting better and better with every passing lap. So that's a good sign, I guess. At least we're not going slower with every lap. That would be cause for worry. But considering that in the first session of the day, which is when the track was a bit cooler, there was less rubber on the track, I did a 54.5, and then in heat 5 I did a 54.4, and here in heat 10, and I think this would be about 11 AM, maybe 10:30, we're only doing high 55s. It's a bit off the pace, and I think the guy behind me, Hussein Rashid, I chatted with him a little bit after the race. He was saying that he was catching up to me massively on the straights, which you're about to see, because things are getting a bit close on lap 7, and there was about 50 seconds on the clock when we crossed it, which means that we've got this lap and one more lap to go. And I think I had a little look behind me on the previous lap, and I would have seen the fact that Hussein was closing in onto me. Also, fun fact, in heat 5 I had a spin, and when I was spinning out, I actually collected Hussein and I got a 6th place penalty for that. So he wasn't happy with me after that race. After this race we had a nice chat, and it's just one of those things. After the race you're always you're never in the best of mindset, especially if there is an incident. And sadly for both of us, we both lost a lot of places in that previous heat because of it, and it was neither of our faults as well. It was just one of those unfortunate racing incidents. But heading on to the final lap of the race, we come out of the final corner, we try to get the best of exits, and you can see that he's just closing right up to me. He gives me a little push, and at this point I know, oh crap, I've got someone right on my rear end, 1 lap to go. So I have a little look behind me to see where Hussein is, and I just decide, right, I've got to go fully defensive for this lap, into Christmas corner, try to get on the power as early as possible. We missed the apex slightly, and I know Hussein is alongside me, so I want to go through this right kink. I have a look over my shoulder, I pull the car all the way to the right, back onto the brakes, down into Ashby on the power, but we just don't quite get the run, and Hussein just pulls alongside us on the outside, gets the job done. But it's not over yet, because if we can get a good run coming out of this bottom left-hander, maybe we have a chance. We get on the power, but you can literally just see Hussein's car just pulling ahead of us on corner exit. Maybe he took the corner better, but considering that it's one of my better corners on the circuit, I'm going to put it down on the car, just because it makes me feel better about myself. So yeah, that's that, and that's the first race, well, the first camera working race done, which was a 2nd. So that means in our heats we finished 2nd, 14th, well, we finished 8th, but we got a 6th place penalty. So we had a 2nd, a 6th, and another 2nd. So all in all, for our first set of heats, not too bad, which brings us on to our finals. We were starting in P18 for our finals, and well, after the heats that we had, my goal was to try to make it into the top 10. We're starting on the outside, our first ever Club 100 finals. We've done it in the BUKC, so the aim is to get a good start, try to stay out of trouble, and just take it, I guess, as a learning experience as well. We're right on the rear end of the guy in front of us. as we head into turn 1. We've got the inside for turn 2, and well, we just jump on the brakes a little bit too early to avoid contact, and as a result we're not on the rear end. It's a bit of a mistake from myself as we head into a Christmas corner. Now look at this, I get on the power before the guy in front of me, but he's still able to pull a rather large gap as one of the guys in front of me clips a cone. We have a little look to the inside of Ashby, but we're not going to get anywhere there. Make a bit of contact with the guy ahead, try to get a good exit, but unsuccessfully so. As we head into the first of the double left-handers, we get squeezed out. We've got to lift out of it so we don't hit the tyre stack and we lose even more positions. So we try to get a decent exit coming out of the second left-hander, but again, we just don't have to pick up out of corners in this kart. And yeah, when battling with people, it was really noticeable, at least for me. But you've got 4 laps or 3 laps before the race, before your A finals, to switch out your car, and I didn't. So that's my own mistake, and it's a big learning experience for me to be able to identify problems with the car as we get a good exit coming out of turn 2. But again, on the straight, you can just see the gap extending between us. We have a little look to the inside, but not quite brave enough, not quite close enough to go for the move. Bit of contact as we now look for the switcheroo as we make our way down the hill towards Ashby Hairpin, but again, we just lose too much time on the descent. We're in P21, so we've lost 3 places. These guys are having a skirmish, so we try to get involved. I give the guy in front of us a push, try to work with him to push him forward, push him through, which we do. He's not very happy about it. I don't know why, because I just helped him gain 2 positions for free. And look at the exit speed he gets relative to us. He was actually sideways as well through that corner, so even if I did have a tighter entry, the amount that he pulled there is absolutely ridiculous. But either way, we've gained a few places, so we can try to get our heads down, try to push through the order. And I get a penalty for cone abuse, and I've looked through the video, I've looked through that last lap, I did not touch a cone anywhere, so maybe it was that other guy who hit a cone and the marshals thought it was me, as this guy sent it down our end. So this guy was in a rocket. His pace is nuts. Well, not his pace, his kart's pace is ridiculous. As we run wide through Ashby, that guy goes on the grass. I make a mistake here. I think, you know what, I'll go around the outside, but he's on cold tyres now. He understeers, he hits me, it forces me off. Yeah, it wasn't intentional by him. It was a genuine mistake, but I shouldn't have put my kart there. I should have known that he was on cold tyres. I shouldn't have tried to hang it around the outside. As someone just sends us down the inside. So we tried to get a good run on the exit, but this guy also sends us down the inside. And yeah, I was just getting mugged left, right and centre. It wasn't a pleasant feeling. I don't think that last lap was down to the kart. That was just down to me not being sensible, as again, well, I think we didn't get on the power early enough, so that's why he was able to get a good run. But yeah, I think the top end on this car is fairly good. I think we're closing in towards the end of the straights, but the straights aren't really long enough to be able to abuse that here at Whilton. And again, you can see him pulling away down the hill. But we're in P24 now, so we're practically dead last. And honestly, after this race and for the rest of the day, and even this morning, because I'm recording this on Monday, I've just been down in the dumps about this, because it kind of destroys you mentally when you have your first 2 heats and you've got good pace. That was absolutely terrible by me heading into the boot. But when you've got good pace in the first couple of races, and then all of a sudden you go over a second a lap quicker, or a second a lap slower. Actually, in this heat we're going 1.5 seconds a lap slower. It kind of destroyed me, because I just didn't know, you know, am I driving worse but thinking that I'm driving better? As the guy in front makes a good send, and this gives us an opportunity to maybe join into the battle. They're kind of neck and neck as we try to get a good run down the hill. Maybe we could look for a send into Ashby. We're too far back. We look to get a good exit, and again, we get on the power before the guy, and he pulls away from us on exit. So I'm genuinely certain that our car was at least 1 second a lap off the pace, at least. Maybe 1.5. I don't know. It just felt, I mean, you can see how much they're pulling, and yeah, yesterday after this race I was just racking my brains trying to work out why. I thought I was, to be fair, I was quite tired in this race, a bit lethargic. And I did feel like sometimes when I missed the apex, just my arms felt tired and like I couldn't, you know, turn in for corners, etc. As we see Ed Barr spun up at the top of Christmas. He apparently had some incident with Mike Coppin, who apparently moved across and didn't realise, which was unfortunate. So big shame for Ed Bars. He put in a mega 53.6 at some point in this race. I think I could have maybe got into the 53s, maybe. I think at the very least I would have been running in the low 54s with the majority of the top runners. So yeah, it is what it is. Big learning experience though, on, you know, how to judge my own kart in the pre-laps to the A final, to know if I need to switch my kart. We get a good run out of the final corner, and to be honest, I've just been waiting for an opportunity to get myself involved. We've got the outside for turn 1, gives us the inside for turn 2. We try to get on the power. Now I know this guy's going to be coming back at us, so I want to go defensive, but for some reason I don't. I just try to get my head down, try to close into the guy ahead, but he sends me into the corner. We try to hold it side by side. I give him room. Some people would have squeezed there, but I don't. And yeah, just look how much time he gains down the hill. We make a bit of contact with him. That's on me. And coming out of the corner, again, he just pulled some corner exits. So I know I'm sounding a bit like a whiny little bitch, and I am. It's been a frustrating evening yesterday, but yeah, it's live and learn. You know, you get the bad kart, as I like to say, and maybe you'll get the good kart the next day. But again, I could have switched the karts around. So we just try to get our heads down behind. I'm not sure what this guy's name is, but we raced against him in one of the previous heats. We try to get a good exit, maybe a bit too much of a left midway through the corner as we head up the hill. And right towards the latter stages, you can see me closing in as the top end of the car starts to kick in, but straight not quite long enough. And well, now this guy's got no one to battle with, so it's going to be very difficult for us to try to find a way through, because that was the only way we were keeping up, because this guy in the green helmet and the guy in the white helmet up ahead were battling rather ferociously. It was giving me an opportunity to get involved. So we get a good run through the corner, and yeah, we then lose out on the straight. I don't really know what else to say at this point. Lap 8, we're running pretty much dead last in the A finals. At least we weren't in the B finals, so extra points, first round of the season, so still a lot of opportunities for us to catch up in the championship. We are in Class 2, and my goal is to finish top 3. Well, my goal was to win, but maybe after today's results, maybe my goal should just be to get top 3 at the end of the season. I think I'd be fairly happy with that, but I think I'm just going to take it race by race, you know, and try to improve with every race, try to race with the big boys. If I can get an overall top 3 at some point in the season, probably looking towards Bayford Meadows, I'd be very happy. I think that's probably my season goal, to race against the likes of Ed Bars, Mike Coppin in one of the A finals. That would be really cool, as we completely outbreak ourselves into the boot. I think I'm just over pushing at this point, trying to overcompensate, trying to close in. We're not really losing too much time to Mr. White Helmet, but we are losing a fair amount of time to Green Helmet, as we hit a 55.0. So I think most of the leaders were running 54.1s, 54.2s. I know Ed Bar's pulled out a ridiculous 53.6 towards the end. That I think is right behind me at this point, and he gets past me and then he just flies, literally just flies down the road as he tries to gain some positions. So yeah, into the left-handers we go, the double-handers. And to be fair, we're smooth, we're relatively consistent, but we're just not quick. You know what? Part of me thinks that I'm riding the brakes. I don't know why, but I think that might be, maybe the brakes are sticking. That could genuinely be what it is. Maybe if I jump on the brakes on a corner, get on the power, the brakes still stick, and it takes a bit of time for them to release. It's the only thing I can think of right now. Either that or the engine jets are tuned towards being better at top end, but I don't know. If anyone experiences watching this and knows what this might be, let me know. Or if you just think I'm driving badly, which, to be honest, I might be. I almost fell asleep when driving back home after this. I was just absolutely knackered. But yeah, lap 11, still in 23rd. Trying to close in on those two ahead because you don't know, they could make a mistake. Someone could go off, we could gain a position. Race isn't over until the fat lady sings, "Oh, that was god-awful," through the boot. Just understeered. How this is a 54.8 when I messed up the boot, I don't know. That probably, if I didn't make that mistake, that could have been a 54.5. As this lap is a 55.0. So let's take a look, because we get a really good run coming out of turns 1 and 2, I think. And heading up the hill, let's see how late we brake. Really late on the brakes, early on the throttle, carry the speed down the hill. And it's all looking good. Down in trash speed, do we mess this up? Yeah, okay, we messed that up. That's 0.2. We don't get on the curb. So as a result, we don't really open up the corner for ourselves enough. Or get a bit of slide. We take too much curb through the first of the left-handers. Second left-hander, we get a decent run, but we could have carried more speed on corner exit. And then down into the boot. So I think we've already lost a few tenths. Yeah, that's not good either. So yeah, maybe this lap could have actually been in the... maybe this could have been a mid to high 54. But I still think if you look at the first 2 laps when I've got carts around me, I think you can still see the better exit speeds that they're getting, even though I get on the throttle earlier. As we head up towards Christmas, and I think this is where Ed Bars sends me. Yeah. Now watch Ed Bars just rocket away. And that's not Cardiff, that's just Ed Bars is an absolute beast. He's already pulled about a second. So there I think I get a good run on Ed Bars, but he just pulls. And again, I think that's a bit of cart diff. He gets a much better run coming out of that corner. And yeah, he's already caught up to the guy ahead in what, half a lap? He's right on his rear end. Actually, Ed Bars takes a really late apex through the first of those 2 right-handers. I didn't notice that. Maybe that's somewhere where I can improve next time we hit Whilton, which will be later in the season. A chance to make amends for this opening race, and yeah, I think Ed Bars is already going to be going up into P22. This guy tries to defend from Ed Bars. Does he go around the outside? He does! Get in there, Ed! What a move! What a move. That's actually a nuts move. Round the outside into Christmas. As he continues to try to push. I don't think he's going to catch up to Mr. White Helmet Man. I think he's too far back. Maybe if Green Helmet didn't defend, he could have had to go into the boot, but yeah. Also, I don't know if anyone saw where I hit a cone. It's a magical, mystical cone that I somewhere hit. Yeah, I think it was the guy who hit a cone in front of me, and one of the marshals or stewards must have mistaken me with that. Guys, we run wide through the final corner. To be honest, by the end I was driving like absolute shite. Yeah, not an impressive run in the second half of that race. So yeah, there we go. Whilton Mill completed unsuccessfully, P24. Pretty much dead last in the A finals, plus we had the 1 lap penalty that came into play somewhere. So yeah, don't really know what more to say. We're heading to Glan-Y-gors for the next round. That's at the start of May. That's a really fun circuit in North Wales, and yeah, hopefully I'll see all of you guys then. Until then, toodles, assalamu alaikum, and yeah, I'll probably have some racing videos coming out soon. Got some GPVWC up in a week or 2, as yeah, there's a very depressed Ed Bars in front of us with a little head shake and a look up to the sky in pain. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.